Part 1. This is a live audio for the 3-2 attempts. We have 3 attempts here, showcasing the general strategy of breaking the movement trigger in turn 1 to force the snipers to come to us. And this screenshot here that we start with is kind of the targeted goal. I will preface, there's a few things to talk about as we kind of get into this. Number 1, the first 2 videos don't have any game audio. I don't know what happened. The first one I definitely forgot to record. The second one I thought I recorded, but something bugged. Didn't happen. It's fine. These aren't for anything other than just kind of demonstrating. So you just get to listen to my wonderful voice throughout all of this adventure. So as we kind of get set up here with this first attempt, a little bit of background and context. So I don't think I'm unique or the only one saying that 3-2 is one of the worst battles in the run, and it has entirely everything to do with these Dark Elves. They move far, they hit hard, they're not particularly easy to kill, since their 16 hit points puts it outside of Blaze 1 range, and you don't really want to use a Blaze 2 to take one out. And the best strategy, the strategy that's showcased in the segmented run in the fastest potential split, so you can really see how fast the battle could be, right around 7.5 minutes, involves in that elf that just moved coming down at the right moment to get that formation with the skeletons so that we can take it out with the mages. Problem is that Dark Elves have 10 speed, so both of our mages are always going to be faster on paper, and so we basically are hoping for the outturn, which is not a good strategy. Now with that, there were a couple attempts before we got to this stage, because Diane is a character that's a pretty fast recruit, and by picking up Diane, it changes where Ammon goes. And with that, you could use Ammon to break the trigger, because on paper that seemed to be a lot better. But I will go on to say that there's a reason we don't have any videos of that, and it's because those didn't feel good. And I think more importantly, the mere fact of adding another character means that we have to then add Peli to the party. So that's far from ideal. And then I was like, well, you can break the trigger with Balbori, but how do we want to do it? So if we give him the speed ring, which is kind of the setup for 3-3 in the traditional setup, he'll always go first. The problem that we run into, and we'll see in these first 2 attempts, is what do we do with these Pegasus Knights when they don't move? And so we'll have 2 attempts where these Pegasus Knights don't move, and they'll both be different in the approaches. So this first one, as far as, mild spoilers, is that we're going to see Balbori ignore those Pegasus Knights, and we're going to let them come to us, because once you move high enough on the map, you'll break their trigger and they'll come after us. The same can be seen if they actually move all the way to the upper left, but in this case we kept them down, so they're going to come over and we're going to treat them as though they were the other Pegasus Knights, but just a little bit differently. So what we're doing here with Balbori is we're clearing out all of the enemies that don't come charging towards us. So the 2 skeletons, and eventually that Dark Priest, we take them out because they'll just keep creeping to the right, which is not great. Also, I have to take the extra hit here because there's a chance that we just do 7 with Blaze, as Henri just did, so that's always fun. And as far as one more housekeeping item, I use, in all of these attempts, I'm just using save states. As you can see, we grinded out a bunch of attempts to kind of see what could go wrong, what could go well, and to save a little bit of sanity for myself, because I couldn't use any speed up functions because that would mess with the timer and make it less legitimate. I just use save states, which is also the same. I just think it makes the video a little bit more watchable because then it's normal gameplay. We're just saving time on all of our splits here. So here, this I think is the biggest downside of letting the Pegasus Knights come to the right, is that our troops are kind of standing around waiting not able to do anything because we're still waiting on Balboray. So I think this, there's a reason that this clip's first, and there's a reason that this is the slowest one. It's because Balboray has to do a few things, and there's just not a fast way to do it any faster. So there's one reset with save state. So that's an extra time. Oh, as well as something that I should have said earlier is that up to battle start is about 40 seconds. To leave 3-1 to go promote Tau and start this battle is about 40 seconds. Since Ammon needs a healing seed, there's a very real chance that it's a little bit slower unless you just give her one, because you're going to want Max with 2 healing seeds. Ammon's going to need a healing seed. So, it could be even as long as a minute, which would make the final time for this entire split a little over 10 minutes, maybe 10.5 minutes. And like I said at the beginning, this is by far, I think, the worst way to do the battle, but here we are. So as you can see, by moving up, the Lizardman comes down, so, that's sort of helpful, I guess. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, but in each of these 3 videos, we're going to have 3 different teams. We'll have varying degrees of Max and Henri, and more importantly, Balboray, where in one of the attempts, Balboray is the fastest Balboray at 12 speed. One of the attempts will be the slowest Balboray at 10 speed, and one of the attempts will be 11 speed, which is the normal Balboray. But that Balboray also then has the lower attack value, which is like horrifically, like, it's a huge problem, but it is what it is. We'll get through it. I say all of that because it's relevant towards getting those Pegasus Knights, because the Pegasus Knights are fairly fast, the Dark Elves are fairly slow. So I think we can get away with Balboray not having the speed ring here, because we would rather Ammon have the speed ring, because in an ideal setup, which we don't actually even see here in any of these videos, is that the 2 Pegasus Knights on the right will move, then Balboray will move, and then you'll have Ammon up blocking, and so then the right elf will come down before Max moves. That way, Max only gets attacked once, because as you can see in this clip at the very beginning, the elf, Max went first, so Max went and moved, and then proceeded to get double attacked, and by pure circumstance, Ammon hadn't even moved yet with the speed ring, so she was able to move and heal Max, whereas if she had already moved, well, Max would have died. So, with that, I have to put a big old massive warning sticker on this strategy, in that we are guaranteeing, even in a best case scenario, Max is going to get attacked at least once. So I think that there's a strong case to be made that for those of us who skip the Rindo bulking items, we probably want to picking those up. Which gets into another interesting idea, in that if Max actually gets to 14 defense, he'll be stealing land effect from a Pegasus Knight, meaning that at 14 defense he actually takes more damage than if he had 13 defense. Because at 13 and 12, he steals from, well, and even lower, he ends up stealing from skeletons. Well, skeletons, or the point being, he will be stealing the defense and getting the benefit. And I don't remember all of his defense values for any of these, but they're all less than 14. I think this is the bulkiest Max. I think this Max had 22 hit points and 13 defense, which is probably why he survived that Pegasus Knight double attack. And I'm going to reference the segmented video a lot. Oh yeah, so she got those. I think in this first clip, actually, Tau, so she did level. Okay, so that works out. And here we're going to end the battle here shortly. It'll be right around 9:20. Like I said, this is the slowest attempt, but I think it showcases kind of why it's the slowest attempt, and that's because the Pegasus Knights coming over is a lot worse than the Pegasus Knights coming down. So here we get into our next attempt. So again, we've got a different team here. So Ammon with Speed Ring. Moves real fast. Balburi without speedering. This is the fastest Balburi, I believe. I believe this is 12 Balburi. So again, we have the Pegasus Knights are going to be stuck on the right. But in this attempt, we're going to take out those Pegasus Knights with Balburi and just eat the turn loss of Balburi not being able to do anything effectively. Now, this is a case, too, where you can see that that elf moved before Max, which is unfortunate because that's going to defeat our formations a little bit. But luckily, Henri hadn't moved yet either, so we're still able to take out the Dark Elf. So there's, you know, if you get this series of turn orders, it ends up being safer for Max. He's not going to get attacked. But obviously, the downside being that your formations aren't nearly as impressive. But there's really nothing we can do about it. I think the bigger conversation revolves around what to do if the Balburi goes before the Pegasus Knights. And, well, as I kind of insinuated, letting the Pegasus Knights come over from the right, I think, is definitely the slowest. So there, we're putting him in there. We're hoping to force a two-man skeleton formation. It ain't great. And then here, we're attacking because we want to try to save our magic a little bit. I believe we have quite a few resets. Now we miss. We do 17. And then we get the kill. So it's like, even though the final time here is going to be like 9 minutes, again, keep in mind every battle save versus save state is going to be 5 to 7 seconds slower. Otherwise, there's just not that much else to say. I think I'm going to actually skip ahead here a little bit. Yep, so here, skipped ahead a little bit. We didn't really miss anything, just taking out that last skeleton. One of the downsides with, well, the obvious downside is we have this dead turn with Balburi. I don't know if it's faster to just send him up. I feel like we would run out of magic and very potentially just run out of damage. Because it feels like we're going to need Balburi over here to help take out some of these skeletons, which is ultimately what we're going to do. Since we're approaching this, quote-unquote, traditionally, we need to take out this Lizard Man, Dark Priest combo before we can move Balburi up. So, I mean, it's just one of these things where it's like, man, it really feels suboptimal to do it this way, but I mean, it still ends up being better than the alternative, which is letting the Pegasus Knights come to us. I don't know. High risk, low reward. I don't know. Like I said, it's I don't even know if I can fully approve of these strategies. But at the very least, it is something that maybe could be worked out a little bit better. And maybe even we figure out better strategies. In any case, I don't think it would justify using or bringing back the Knight. Because I think we very well established that even though the Knight makes this battle easier, it doesn't necessarily make the battle any faster. And we'd rather have the Knight gone after Shade Abbey regardless. Yeah, so we get really lucky there with the double turn from the Lizardman to nearly kill Max. And I think... Okay, so no, we're actually going to move up and leave that skeleton alive. I think it's definitely up to debate if taking the kill there is good or bad. By taking the kill, it makes it a lot safer for our folks down here. And Tau will have enough experience at the end anyway. It also was going to force Balbury to need a reboost. If we hadn't taken that kill, then Balbury wouldn't need to reboost. But, you know, it's hard to say because this also gets Balbury more experience, and we don't necessarily even need the 2 Pegasus Knights for Tau to still level up. So, you know, in any case, we're going to jump forward a little bit here because we move, we boost, Pegasus Knight comes down. Yada yada yada. This is enough experience for Tau to level. And of course, I fully believe in saving before the Dark Priests. So we had a save state and we missed, so that's why. But here we get the kill. And so again, 9 minutes plus 40 seconds for outside the battle, plus another 30 seconds or so. So this is just over 10 minutes for a full split. And so now we've got game audio, which is good. But this is also the fastest attempt. So this attempt, I believe, features our normal Balbury with 11 speed. But I believe this also is the weakest Balbury, if I remember correctly. But this is also from where the screenshot is pulled from. So this at the very least showcases very nearly the correct setup. Or rather, the ideal set of turn orders. You know, if Max had avoided this archer that's attacking him by it going before him, that would have been most ideal. As you can see, Max just tanky enough at 19 hit points to survive the 2 Dark Elves. Which then brings us again back to the idea of Ammon with the speed ring being up there so she can go quickly and then save Max's life. But I think this right here is the why and the hope. Now, is this enough? Is the risk of exposing Max and the potential nastiness of the Pegasus Knights not moving correctly, is that worth it for this? I don't know. That's for you guys to decide. Worth mentioning that Balbury's killing that skeleton over the other skeleton because I believe that top skeleton is providing the land effect for Max. So in the event that we didn't get both the snipers defeated before Max, or before... if we had killed the land effect skeleton before the snipers, and the snipers attacked Max, and Max would have taken extra damage, like 4 to 5 points more extra damage. So depending on his defense value, which we're not going to discuss here in great detail, that's for the land effect guide. Depending on his defense value, it can change the order in which you should defeat the skeletons. Which also, the order of which you want to defeat those skeletons, or leave one alive, I think can be up to debate as well. One of the things I failed to mention at the beginning was that all of these showcase a one-hit KO Balbury. And I think, for the most part, it doesn't change anything if Balbury has one-hit KO versus like the 96 experience. I think the only issue that we really run into is if Balbury is sitting on a fresh level. In which case, well, then you probably just want to leave one of the skeletons for your party to defeat. But as you can see with this series of turn orders here, you know, the one skeleton went after Max, forcing another 2-man formation. I think most of the time that's not going to happen, so your crew is going to be delayed by another round getting up there. And even, and so with all of that aside, like, Balburi is still going to be in position, ready to move, having taken these 3 more kills, and our guys would not even be in position yet. So, you know, that's some food for thought. So, Ammon gives the speed ring. She no longer needs it. We're setting up for 3-3. Which, to be completely honest, is debatable if you should even have it. I mean, the speed ring on Balburi can help save a few seconds towards the end of 3-3, but is that time made up for the fact that you then have to give Henri the speed ring for 4-1? It's hard to say. It's definitely debatable. In any case, you can see that the battle plays out virtually the same once we get those initial movements.